welcome back to my channel. In today's video, as you'll see by the title, I'm going to be talking about my experience with menstrual cups and my top tips for using them. If you are one of my family members or one of my friends and you really don't want to hear me talking about this, then please click off now. But if you are interested in hearing about my journey and my top tips for using menstrual cups, then please stay tuned. Before we get started, don't forget to head down below and hit the subscribe button and give it a big thumbs up, and let's get into it. So the first thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to menstrual cups is you really have to understand how your body works and what the anatomy of your body is like. So I'm going to just pop up a quick picture on the screen here of the anatomy of the female body. And if you notice from where your vagina is, you have your vaginal canal and then you have your cervix. Now the menstrual cup will sit in your vaginal canal, which is also where a tampon will sit as well. And it's really important to know the space between your cervix and the entrance to your vaginal canal. It's really important to know that information because that's really going to help when you're choosing a menstrual cup and when you're finding out whether a menstrual cup is going to work for you. This is my menstrual cup. As you can see, size-wise, it's pretty small. They have lots of different sizes. OrganiCup, I'll pop a picture on the screen now. They do 3 different sizes. One is for a teenager who's probably just started their period or is not quite far along. The next size, size B, is for someone who has not had children vaginally or given birth vaginally yet. And then size C is for mums who have given birth vaginally. Obviously, all of these different sizes are going to be related to what your vagina is like. I'm going to probably be saying that word quite a lot in this video, so again, if this grosses you out, please just leave. But this is just, I have decided to talk about this, so this is how this video is going to go. So this is mine. I have got size B because I am an adult woman, but I have not had children yet. So this is the size that I have gone for. As you can see, they're quite small and they're very, very easy to use. I find them very easy to use. So how it works is you literally just fold it up, you pop it in, it pops out like this, and then it sits at the base of your vagina. And it will sit in there and collect the blood, and then you just take it out, you put your fingers up, push it, pull it out, and then you can pour the blood out into the toilet, give it a wash, and then fold it up and put it back in. Okay, so now moving on to the benefits of using a menstrual cup. Now this lasts your whole period and for all your periods throughout the whole year and the rest of your life. You only need to buy one of these. The only time they tell you to replace it is if it starts to get really sticky or discoloured. But I've had mine again for about 1.5 years, and as long as you look after it and clean it, it's totally fine. On the OrganiCup website, it basically says that having one of these is the equivalent to using 528 pads or tampons throughout 2 years of your period. So it's really, really worthwhile. You only purchase it once and then it lasts you a very, very long time. Unlike pads or tampons where you have to keep repurchasing them when you run out, this is really sustainable and you can use it all the time. Another thing that's really great about this is medical grade silicone, so it's completely odorless, and once you clean it and wash it and look after it, it will remain odorless. And another thing that I love is I always find after a while of wearing tampons, I can start to smell it, and that's how I know that I need to change it, because I can start to smell it. Whereas these, I never ever can smell my period. Ever since I've started using them, I can't really tell that I'm on anymore because it's just so convenient and so easy. I only have to think about it in the morning and in the evening, and that's it. But my kind of like routine with using a menstrual cup, I basically get up in the morning, I will take it out, empty it, rinse it in the sink, give it a clean, and then I'll pop it back in, and then that'll be in for the rest of the day until I go to bed. I won't need to touch it, I won't need to remove it, empty it, nothing. I can leave it in the entire day and empty it at night and then go to bed. So I find it so much more convenient than using tampons and pads. Okay, so now I've talked about the benefits of using a menstrual cup, I'm going to quickly touch on the cons and the downsides to using a menstrual cup. So the first con to using this is it can take a while to get used to. As I said at the start of this video, it's very dependent on what your body is like and the size that you have, and I'm trying not to be too descriptive. It's very dependent on your body and what your body can fit, basically. So this isn't an ad, this is not sponsored in any way by OrganiCup, this is just the brand that I use, and the reason I loved using this to start with is because they give you a 90-day satisfaction guarantee. So they say that it can take 3 or 4 menstrual cycles to get used to using one of these, so they will completely refund you or change your size if it is uncomfortable or you need a bigger size or a smaller size. They will do that for you for free. So that is another reason why I use them, because I thought I've never used this before, and I know that if it doesn't work out or if it's uncomfortable, I can swap it for a different size or I can get my money back. So it was a really good way of trying a menstrual cup for the first time. Another potential con of using menstrual cups that I find, and this was especially when I first started using it, not so much now because I've got used to using them, but it can be a little bit more messy. I think if you aren't used to taking them out or putting them in, it can be a little bit messy, you get what I'm saying. But once you're used to them and once you know the right way that works for you to take it out, it's really, really easy and it's no longer a problem. But at the start, as you're getting used to it, it definitely can be a bit more messy than using a tampon or a pad. So I'm now going to talk about the difference between using this and using a tampon. So the first major difference that I've really loved is that a tampon only really lasts for about 2 to 3 hours. You have to change it pretty regularly. Whereas this, as I said before, you can keep it in for up to 12 hours. It just depends how much you bleed. Sometimes you may have a heavier period, in which case you may have to keep an eye on it a bit more. But in general, you can keep it in for up to 12 hours, which I've found really helpful because it means if I'm out for the day, I don't have to worry about the fact that I'm on. I don't have to keep tampons on me and keep running in and out of the toilet. I don't have to do any of that. I can just put it in the morning, go out for the day, and when I get home and go to bed, that's when I can sort it out. Another thing that I've found with this and with tampons is tampons obviously have a string that hangs out from inside you, and this is pretty tucked up inside you. You don't really have anything coming out. The only thing, if you can see that there, is this little, I don't know what it's called. But whatever it is, depending on the size of your cervix and your vaginal canal, this will either stick out or it won't, but you can always chop this off and just have it as the little cup. But again, I've never really been bothered by this, which is why I've left it on. But you can always chop it off if you want to, meaning it's completely internal and there's nothing coming out or nothing in the way, or there's nothing obviously showing that you're on your period. So my next point with the differences between this and using a tampon is tampons hold about 3 milliliters to 12 milliliters of blood. And on average, a woman loses about 80 milliliters of blood in her whole period. So this menstrual cup holds about 25 milliliters. So that is why you can keep it in for a lot longer, because it holds a lot more, it's a lot fresher. If you have a heavier period but you find it uncomfortable having the big tampon and it can be a bit sore for you if you're a little bit smaller down there, then that is another upside of this, is that this doesn't expand, it stays the same size. So as long as you have the right size for your cervix and your vaginal canal, you'll be completely comfortable and your period won't be affected. Okay, so just to finish off this video, I'm just going to answer some commonly asked questions about menstrual cups. If you do have any other questions or anything that I haven't covered in here, please pop it in the comments down below and I will answer them for you, or you can just Google it yourself, or come on over to my Instagram and send me a message. Obviously this is from my experience only, I'm not a professional, so if this is something that you're considering and you're not sure health-wise if it will work for you, then do see your doctor. But I'm giving you information based on my experience. So the first question I'm going to touch on really briefly, because I have mentioned it a few times in this video already, is just how long you can wear one of these for your period. In general, it's up to about 12 hours. But if you get a menstrual cup, then you can just see what works for you and how often you find that you need to change it, but it will definitely not be as much as a tampon. Another question is, can I go to the toilet with a menstrual cup in? And we're talking about number 1s and number 2s. Now, I have never had an issue with going to the toilet with one of these in, but I know that some people, depending on the size of your vaginal canal or where everything is in your womb and your bladder and all of that, if you put it in funny or at an angle, it can kind of put some pressure on your bladder if that is where everything is. So I always find that if I put it in a bit funny, it can make me feel like I need the toilet a lot, but then I just take it out and readjust it and it's totally fine. But in terms of actually going to the toilet, it makes absolutely no difference. There's another question on here about whether you can sleep with it in. Yes, completely, absolutely fine. It lasts for up to 12 hours, so it's perfectly safe to sleep with it in. So the next question that is really commonly asked is, does it leak? Now, what I really love about these is it doesn't, and the only way it doesn't is if it's used correctly. So with a tampon, obviously if it gets quite full, then you are going to leak, and it's hard to know when it is full and when you need to change it. And obviously with a pad, you are leaking onto the pad. That is how it works. But with these, if you look closely, you'll see that it's got some holes, in 2 holes in each side of it. Now these are to help the suction. So what happens is once you put it in, it will pop open and sit in your vaginal canal. And the way these holes work is it creates a suction to the walls of your vagina. So it means that it will sit perfectly in there and nothing will be able to leak out. It will all fit in here, and that's only if you put it in correctly. So your first couple of tries, you may leak and you may get it wrong, and it's all about just taking it out, putting it back in again, and making sure it's completely secure, and it just takes some trial and error. Another question that is commonly asked about these is if you can use them in a public bathroom. Now, as I've said, I've only ever had to do this once, because normally I get up in the morning and I deal with my cup, and then at night before I go to bed I deal with it. So I'm always at home or at my parents' or at a friend's house or in a hotel. So I always have private space to do this and sort it out. But if you are in a situation where you think, oh my goodness, I need to empty my cup and all I have is a public bathroom, that's absolutely no problem. Just empty the blood into the toilet, give it a good wipe around with a tissue and pop it back in. And then when you're home and you're back to your private space, you can just give it a rinse in the tap and with some soap and water, and that will be totally fine. So another question, and the final question for this video before I end it, is what is the care like for a menstrual cup? Is it high maintenance? Now, I wouldn't say it's high maintenance because you only really have to deal with this when you're on your period, but basically what they recommend you do is every time you use it, just rinse it out and clean it with a bit of soap and water before you put it back in again. But at the end and the start of your period, what I would do is I would just pop it on a pan of boiling water on the hob, leave it for about 5 minutes to boil, then leave it on the side to just dry naturally, and then I would just pop it back in its bag and close it up and put it away for next time. And then when I next use it, I would take it out and then put it on the hob and disinfect it as well, just to make sure that I'm not putting anything inside me like dirt or dust or grime or anything like that. And that's the end of my video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to see more videos from me. And I really hope that I've covered everything, but if I haven't, then please leave your questions in the comments box below, and if needs be, I will make another video about this to answer some more questions. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.